Michelle Knight was one of the 3 women that was abducted by Castro in Ohio, and she was held in captivity for nearly a decade. Now, even though that she was repeatedly raped, even though she dealt with violence on a regular basis, even though she was tortured on a daily basis, recently she granted an interview to the press and she talked about how she has already forgiven him for what he has done to her, which is remarkable. So let me give you some quotes. She said, "I was able to say his name, Castro. I was able to forgive him. The situation Castro put me in didn't define me. I choose to live a meaningful life." This is one of the most resilient people I have ever read about, heard about. It's incredible. I mean, she had gotten pregnant, and in order to make sure that she didn't actually have the baby, he would kick her, beat her, so she would have a miscarriage. I mean, she went through some of the most hideous things imaginable for 10 years. She was abducted when she was only 21 years old.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to say something unbelievable. I disagree with her. Okay. Now, is she an awesome person? Absolutely. Is she a better person than me? Yes. Okay, for the reasons I'm about to state. I don't think you have to forgive. I don't know why all of society screams at you to forgive. It's like this Christian thing, which is lovely. Like, that's why the people who are into forgiving others are better people than me, right? And it's a rare instance where I credit religion. Like, I'm glad that that's in Christianity, and forgiving and is a part of moving. I don't know why it's a part of moving on. Why can't I hate the guy forever and then move on? Like, I don't want to forgive that guy. If it happened to me, I would never ever forgive him, and I don't think I need to.
Right. I think that for some people, maybe for you, you can hate someone who's wronged you and you can still move on and live a happy life. For a lot of people, I could say this about myself, if I hold a grudge, I haven't really moved on, right? I will hold that bitterness and that resentment for the rest of my life until I can finally come to terms with it, forgive that person, accept the fact that they had a mental illness or, you know, in this case, was just a hideous person, but was a sad person, and just move on. For some people, that is part of the healing process. So whether or not that's right for you doesn't really matter. If it's right for her, that's all we care about.
Well, of course. So yeah. I understand that, and so if this has helped her, great, okay? But there's a second part of that that's unlived for me, right? He had a mental illness. Whoop-de-doo. Okay, that's his fucking problem. Right now, look, so in a societal sense, it's all of our problems, and I think we should take that into account in policy making, et cetera, right? But if it happened to me, that's why I shouldn't sit on the jury, right? If it happened to me, I don't give a shit about your mental problems, right? If you hurt someone that I love, I'm gonna give you more mental problems, okay? So, and by the way, you know, I'll say the third controversial thing in this, I don't think Castro hung himself. We all agreed to that fiction, right? Guards left for 20 minutes. They came back, and voila, he had taken that one opportunity to hang himself. Or maybe the guards left so other people could come in and hang him. Anyway, and I got no problem. Well, I shouldn't say I have no problems with that. Anyway, as you can tell, I have not forgiven Castro, and I wouldn't forgive a guy like that. And I don't think we need to. I guess I'm bothered by the idea that when you have a victim and someone who has been terribly wronged, we keep yelling at them to forgive.
No one yelled at her to forgive anyone. I don't know where you got that from. She did this on her own. Everyone despises Castro. Everyone wanted the worst possible things to happen to Castro, which ended up happening to him, right? But this is something that she decided to do on her own, because I do see this as part of the healing process, which is right for her. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for everyone. No one sits here and says, you have to forgive everyone who's ever wronged you. Yes, religion does say that, right?
A lot of people say that. Therapists say
I know.
Therapists, religious people, society at large says, forgive! And look, don't get me wrong. Am I in favor of forgiving on a micro scale? Absolutely, actually more than the average person, right? So like, people get so stuck up on like, oh my God, he took my stapler. Dude, let it go, okay? I mean, all these little knick-knack things in your life. Oh, he cut me off, I'm gonna go chase him for, yeah, he cut you off, everything's gonna be all right. Just let it go, okay? So don't get me wrong, but on massive stuff like this, I don't need everybody pressuring me to forgive.
I know.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not a bitter person. I literally hold no grudges. But like, if you ask me about an old boss who was a dick to me, I don't think about that guy. That's his problem.
I think about that shit all the time.
See, that's funny. I don't think about that dude, and that's his problem, not my problem. He leads a miserable life. I lead a happy life, right? But if you said to me, do you forgive him? I'd be like, no. Okay. He fired a friend of mine that didn't need to be fired because he wanted to be a tough guy. I don't forgive him. It doesn't bother me, but I don't forgive him.
You're holding in a lot of resentment that you need to work out, and maybe.
See, here we go, get the pressure. I told you there's all this kind of pressure.
Right, no, she's joking, but that's the point. And again, maybe it's different for every person, but I think that's what they're saying. Even if you have moved on, quote, moved on, maybe you haven't. Like, you feel okay, but you don't know where that's brewing inside if you haven't fully forgiven someone. It might come back up. Like, some people go, yeah, I grew up with a shit father, a shit mother, and I fuck it, I didn't forgive him, but I'm fine. Look, I have a good job and I have a house and a husband. But then if your husband does something to you, it fucking triggers you and you never let it go, you blow the fuck up on him, because now you're ruining your own life because something you never let go that your parents did. Just that's a specific example that, you know, is general. And people may think they let it go when they maybe didn't. You just blew up at us just now, Cenk. What happened?
Cenk, I think you need to learn how to let it go.
So these are all very fair points, and it's super ironic because for people who have transgressed against me, I'm really like the most understanding guy in the world. Like, oh, my parents didn't show up to my football games. Dude, they had shit to do, okay? Like, whatever, they were trying their best. I don't hold grudges against any of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, if someone kidnaps or rapes me for 10 years, let me just hate him forever, okay? Isn't that all right?